This old school kid on the block may have just shed a few years this week when I got behind the wheel of this model. Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, four-banger affairs typically don't tickle my fancy, nor do, well, hatchback options. But I must say, with the, well, overall comfort on the inside and, well, neck-snapping fun, I finally decided to let my hair down and actually enjoy, well, the zipping, roaring, and get-up-and-go fun that this thing delivered. Admittedly, I haven't watched a lot of the Fast and Furious movies, and I prefer the oval versus the road courses that have a lot of figure eights and S-curves and randomly a straightaway. So when it comes to the four-banger affair, well, I'm out of my element. But what I like about this model is, well, it did have a little bit of zip and, well, again, made me feel cool. Now, specifically, this is the all-new 2021 Hyundai Veloster N. Now, the other models have not changed for this year, but this one has seen some advancements, most notably the transmission. But before we get there, let's talk about my first introduction. Well, I like the fact that it has a sporty facade. Now, hatchbacks across the board aren't created equal, and when you see one like this, well, it's, well, roadworthiness when it comes to zip roaring fun is first and evident. Obviously, with the lower ground effects, this adorned rear spoiler, and the fact that it has this nice dark and black exterior on this particular model with that, well, emblazoned orange stripe, well, let me know that it's all about the RPMs. With this being my first test drive behind the wheel of this vehicle, I had to take it in from every angle, and I quickly discerned that it doesn't fit the typical hatchback mold. With most hatchbacks delivering 5 doors of access, this only having 4. Hatchback at the back and 3 passenger doors. Now, from this angle, you can see traditional doors, but on this side, 1 for the pilot. Almost elongates the pillars, not in the same area. This one right through here with the passenger side moved up just a hair, and that makes for a little bit of different ingress when you transfer from maybe pilot to co-pilot. I'll show you that in just a second, but it all comes down to the overall numbers. This vehicle fairly compact, around about 167 inches, wheelbase around about 104. As for width, just under 6 feet wide and about 55 inches tall. Lastly is ground clearance, with this vehicle pretty much snug in the road at about 5.3 inches. And adding to the overall look, of course, is that lower third flare out. Now, from this vantage point, you can really see the difference in the B pillar here on the passenger side, right through here. There on the driver's side, moved back, and really took me a few times getting in and out as the passenger realized that it's just not as comfortable as it is on that side. Now, what I like is the overall legroom numbers, around about 42 inches in the front, 34 inches in the back. Typical found on a vehicle like this. I almost say that it's actually on the upper segment. Typically 35 inches is going to be pretty decent comfort. Easily can get that when those front seats are moved forward just a little bit. But as you can tell, singular door on this side, this elongated, and again makes for great ease of ingress for my tall frame. The door pretty much almost going perpendicular. Really, I can climb in with ease and slide in. Now, one thing I also notice is pretty much a nice cathedral feel. And the reason for that is the up and down of the seat. You can pretty much crank it up like this or go back down. Some drivers that took the spot after me noticed they were really low because, again, I need a little bit of elevation. They quickly accommodated by raising this seat up. Now, when you swing around to the passenger side, one of the first things, again, you're going to notice is the difference in the B pillar location. Move forward a little bit on this side. For reference, the driver's side about right through here. That pretty much equates to the driver's door being substantially bigger. Now, by the numbers, I measured it. It's around about 52.5 inches, about 10 inches less here for the passenger. If you're one of those drivers that likes to, well, share the love and sometimes move over to the co-pilot position, you'll find it, well, a little different climbing inside. And that's mainly because here with the seating position, the seat is actually behind the pillar. There on the driver's side is about equal, and that really relates to when you climb inside. Now, first off, let's talk about when the door is open. Traditionally, you're going to be in some type of parking area. The door's going to maybe go about this spot, but however, if you can go full, that is going to help with the overall squeezing inside, because basically what you have to do is get past the B pillar, then slide back. And I'm maybe overstating it here, but it's just a point of reference. Now, what you're going to find is you're going to kind of back that thing up, squeeze in, and just kind of slide past this B pillar, then swing in your feet. Again, just kind of an overall different process than what you're going to find for the driver. Now swinging around to the backseat drivers, you're going to find about another ½ foot loss when it comes to door width, around about 36 inches at its widest spot, which is going to equate to kind of a back bending affair to climb inside, because again, once you open it up, not a huge amount of width really to get inside, but you will find that the rear pillar is about even with the seat back, so it really just turns into kind of a back bending affair. Another area that is compromised is headroom numbers, losing just under about 3 inches with this slope when you get in there. But what I like is, again, decent legroom, and for my 6+ inch frame, it means, well, I can at least climb in. Now the way it works is, really, I couldn't figure out the best way to do it, but just taking that one leg, swinging in, and you're going to find that you find decent comfort. Now this area right through here can be a head banging affair because it does get cathedral like once you're inside, so pretty much you got to be somewhat of a contortionist to get into the back area, but once you do, well, I found it to be fairly comfortable. Now the Veloster does have smart key system to be expected, and the access points are at the both front doors. Real simple, just press the button, unlocks with ease. Now on the passenger side, once you press it, unlocks all the doors. For the driver, it's kind of a two-step process, not a big deal. Now I'm kind of a big arguer that you have to have those ingress buttons at every door, but since there's only a 3-door scenario here, once you're on this side, really it's just a mere fraction away to open this up. Now what I do like here at the back end is a nice electronic release, but where you find it is in the upper segment of the hatch, right here on the nice door handle, not down low, because again, this vehicle has an overall height of just under 55 inches, so anything too low means it's a back bending affair, but this is kept nice and high and real easy to access. Now for this N series, you could say it's all about the need for speed, and I assume that's what it stands for, and with that means all about the airflow and the aerodynamics. Now certainly the guerrilla warfare about gobbling it up, but the niches and the flare out that we see around this vehicle is certainly about seeing the airflow seamlessly around this vehicle. And you'll see it up here at the front. As it sweeps down into these lower niches, it sweeps out the outer side. In most cases, some vehicles are really just kind of superficial. These actually operational. Now going down the side, the body line's nice and tight. You're not going to see any chiseling up here that would cause some kind of fluctuation in the airflow. Instead, nice and smooth body lines. That lower flare out, almost gobbling this air through this channel, sweeping down the side, and again, tucking in here and coming out the side as well. Obviously the rear spoiler splitting the air, coming through the bottom and sweeping up the top. Down here at the back, this is all implied, but there is some, well, modest airflow through this lower venting. Now you're not going to find quad pipes at the back of this, but instead 2 substantial exhaust lines that give you the nice throttle we expect from the back end. Now, while the Veloster N doesn't fit the traditional hatchback mold, delivering these 4 doors versus 5, it still is a hatchback at heart, making this vehicle really a weekend warrior here with the business end of things, because after all, there's only so much fun you can have on the open road. At some point, you got to call it a night, so you got to take your gear with you, and this is where this vehicle doesn't fall short. Again, great cabin numbers, but again, translates here at the back just the same. Now, before we get in there, let's talk about design. Obviously, you can see this rear spoiler, the amount of air that sweeps around it. Huge bank of glass, but that doesn't really translate into a huge amount of viewpoint. Instead, you do have a nice backup camera. Now, I mentioned earlier about the electronic release. That's found here on this handle. Hyundai in other cases has hidden the button in their emblem. I like the fact that we didn't mess up the overall design with some type of niche for a handle. Body color pretty much all the way around this vehicle, and what I like is the kind of darkened overall look and the contrast when it comes to that lower red accent all the way around the vehicle. Again, nice viewpoint of those dual exhausts, but really let's talk about what's inside. Once this rises to the occasion, first off, what you're going to see is really the hatch gets out of the way. It doesn't overhang here whatsoever, but it provides plenty of entry point here at the back. Now what you're going to find is just under about 20 cubic feet of space. It's going to more than double when you lay the second row flat. Now one thing you will notice is this nice rear tonneau cover. When it is down, it almost acts like a modest rear shelf. Truly, it also blocks everything that can be seen in here, because you really don't want prying eyes, even though it is small, noticing what you have in here. Now it does rise to the occasion, but if you need to, you can release it by just simply sliding it forward like that. Now you can also just lay it flat in the bottom, or just remove it if you're not going to use it a lot. Now what you'll find, again, pretty much nice compartmentalized, all pretty much squared off until you get about to this area. This portion really angling quite a bit, so most of your acreage is way down below here. Swinging around to the front, you can say it's all about grille warfare because certainly it gobbles up all the front end design. Really huge open face look. Now there is a nice glossy accent right through the middle, but split with the upper and lower portions, even tucked in way down low. Now as you sweep across, you will find that these vents are operational. Again, they sweep out to the outer side. Black glossy accents all the way around, a little bit of lower fascia, very minimal when it comes to this brushed chrome accent, but this red adornment really outlining the overall trim around this vehicle. Now Headlight Assemblies really has been front and center just the same. You'll see it bedazzled here on the outer side, not too menacing, under one huge bank of glass, but almost these little LED lights, rope lighting all the way around the side. Now those are the running lights. Once you get it fully operational, see the cylinder approach to the headlights themselves. Now one thing to note, one thing I've talked about is when the daytime running lights will turn off when you activate your turn signal. That is the case here, almost like a squinty eye approach. One running light on while the other one is diminished, but again, that's a DOT regulation that says when they're so close together, one can't overpower the other. So pretty much the running lights go away and you have the turn signal. I don't like that overall look, so I'd appreciate it if they made the turn signal brighter or relocated it. Now, not to belabor the point, but here in this case, the headlight assembly is running, the turn signal is engaged, but yet the accent lighting does not go away. And my argument is, if it works in this case, why lose the accent lighting at all? Because again, the turn signal really overpowers the accent, or at bare minimum, make the turn signal and the accent light work in unison, pretty much blink all together, which again would be a little bit more informative than just the turn signal itself. Now when it comes to the power plant on the hood, this particular model equipped with the Theta 2.0 turbocharged GDI 4-cylinder engine. Now it delivers around about 275 horses and 260 foot-pounds of torque. Now you can opt for the Gamma 1.6 liter turbo. That's around about 201 horses and 195 foot-pounds of torque. And lastly, just the standard 2.0 liter. That's a minimal 147, 132. Now what I like is what they've done with the transmission. No longer just delivering it in a manual, but instead a dual clutch like we tested here, specifically 8-speed dual clutch transmission that does all the work that I prefer not to do, which is called, the clutch dance. Sport on the outside has definitely got to match the inside, and that's what we found. Nice sports seating for the pilot and co-pilot. A little bit of bolstering on the outside to be expected, a nice fitted affair. Now what you also see is the N emblem adorned right in the headrest and illuminates, giving a nice pizzazz at day and night. Now one thing you'll find with the dual clutch is a nice automatic transmission. Pretty much I don't like the clutch dance, just seems to aggravate me because this mode can definitely handle the shift points much better than I can. Now standard shifting puts you in drive mode, but if you toggle it to the left, that's going to be kind of the extra added fun. Of course, utilizing the paddle shifters or the gear shifter if you prefer. Now on the dash, what you're going to find is standard analog tach and speedometer. Good digital readout there in the middle with the speed and other information, but another big point is the drive modes, with you having the normal, sport, and eco mode. And when you get into sport, you can definitely hear that engine start to throttle just a little bit more, and you have a little bit more red intensity to remind you that, this is where the fun begins. Now, if you do want to go with the traditional gear shifting, you'll notice that it's just a nice push up to shift down and a pull back to shift up. That's just typically going to go along with the inertia related to how you're driving, because when you stomp the gas and need to shift, you're going to be thrown back in your car. As you want to brake and downshift, you're going to be thrown forward. Just seems to go with the flow with the movement of that gear shifter. Now I mentioned the button about the driving modes is here on the left, but there's another nice one here on the right, and this is the custom setting. This is where you can go into the various settings and set this vehicle up specifically for you, and when you're ready, just simply tap it and the vehicle knows how you want to drive. On the steering wheel, you're going to find cruise control options on your right, as well as driving modes like lane assist, and of course your settings for your instrument there here on this side. Now on the left side, pretty much primarily for entertainment, volume select, various modes, and your Bluetooth phone settings. Now for the infotainment system, you'll find a nice default screen. Gives you a little bit of navigation on the right as you're going almost in a ghost mode, but this is really minimizing the overall distractions. If you want to go full screen, just simply select the mode you're looking for. Radio in this sense, really easy to navigate, as well as the other shortcuts to kind of scroll through. Now you can go through the setup modes, which gives you all the various options, scroll through. For example, you can go to vehicle mode. That gives you a lot of things at a touch arm stretch away, allows you to set and save. Now down below is the climate controls. What you'll find is a single zone system. Temperature select here on the left does relate up to the upper portion of the screen, give you a nice digital readout. Over here on the right is fan speed, which I prefer. All your mode selects there in the middle. Connectivity will be found down low. Traditional car outlet here on the left, another USB here on the right, as well as one in the middle, and a nice storage tray down below. That does for this sporty edition of Road Warrior. Now test drive behind the wheel of the 2021 Hyundai Veloster N edition with that turbo power in the hood, cargo to boot, but better yet, that little sport inspired feel there on the inside. Give you a nice snug approach, and again, just as zips through the turns. And don't forget, it's really kind of an equal opportunist with both the vertical elements to the lifting of the seats and as well as stretching out. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.